My journey began as kind of a grade schooler at the South Chicago YMCA and then South Shore YMCA, and I was tapped on the shoulder by a woman and girls director named Dorothy Marshall, and went through the Tri-High Y program, and Solon Cousins at the time was the human resources person, or the personnel director they called him in those days, at the Chicago Y, and he offered a $300 scholarship for me to go to George Williams College. I was a townie. I lived in South Shore, and at the time the campus was in Hyde Park, and I am first generation Armenian, and my parents were not very big about my going away to college. So I went to George Williams and became a group work education major. My experience at the college was phenomenal. It was great. It was an experience of going in to a primarily male college at the time, which then later in life, when I graduated, it took me into an all-male organization in the Detroit YMCA. But my 4 years at the college were years that I was very involved. I liked being a bigger fish in a smaller pond. And I didn't know how much I liked that until I did my graduate work, master's at Wayne State University, and my first registration was like in a big barn, and I was lost. And then when I went on to the University of Michigan and for my doctorate, I thought, whoa, I sure missed the George Williams College days. And so George Williams for me was a place I could be a leader, and I could be active. And having professors like Arthur Steinhaus, who was a world-renowned physiologist at the time, and to have the experience of Sylvanus Duval, who, along with his wife Evelyn, were known in the field of family education. And so it put me in relationship to faculty members. So it changed my life in many ways. And of course it led me to a career that I loved. And when you have a career you love, you never work a day in your life. So it was fun. So I grew a lot. We just have a lot of fun with dancing with the Dunsings. So George Williams graduates are pretty good folk dancers. And they're really, again, you know, it was just obvious that there were not very many women. And those of us that were there had a lot of choice about dating and about, you know, getting a lot of male friends who were just friends. And so again, that was a preparation for going to the Detroit Y, where I was the first female professional employed in 1961. And if you think of the early 60s, it was the beginning of the most exciting era, in my opinion, of change in our country. It was all the rights movements, you know, women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, all the rights groups started to come out. So being in a minority, probably one of the impacts it made on me was when I graduated, when I was doing my doctorate at the University of Michigan, I had to choose a dissertation topic. And the dissertation topic I chose was it had a fancy name. The basis of success of professional women in predominantly male organizations. And so my George Williams experience, which was my first experience of being a minority, was that I wanted to see what it was that would make women successful when they were working. And at that time, again, that would be 1977 I did that, most organizations, most corporations were predominantly male. My hope would be that George Williams College would remain a very vital part of Aurora University. My hope is that this newer term, servant leadership, that's being used a lot more, would capture the group work orientation of the old George Williams College. I think that in this day and age, group work is an especially important skill And it's a skill that a lot of people don't have. So I would hope the college would return to serving kids who can't afford to go to college. I would hope that the subsidy would be available. I would hope their experience at the college would include a laboratory experience, if not during the school year, during the summers, but hopefully during the school year. And I'm not just talking about travel abroad programs. Every university, I think the mission and the niche that the Aurora University leadership has got to find is how do we do things that are unlike other middle class, middle income, middle America colleges and universities. And I think that's the niche. And I think the collaboration and partnership with all nonprofit organizations. And I think that what will drive that to some extent is the tax exempt challenge. And so maybe to make lemonade out of lemons here, to return to what is it to be a nonprofit organization.